Saint Malachy's prophecy on Pope Francis as the last pope before the second coming. Saint Malachy's visions of 112 popes in the future. Saint Malachy was born at Armagh, Ireland in 1094, and he was the Archbishop of Armagh in the 12th century. He passed away on November 2, 1148 at age 54. Saint Malachy was known as a spiritual healer and seer who performed some supernatural miracles in Ireland, and he was canonized as the first Irish saint by Pope Clement III in 1190. While in Rome in 1139, Saint Malachy received a vision showing him all the popes from his day to the end of time. He wrote down the poetic descriptions of each pope and presented the complete manuscript to Pope Innocent II. But at that time, no one understood the prophetic meaning of these poetic descriptions. The manuscript was then placed into the Vatican secret archives and was forgotten until 1590. In 1590, a Benedictine monk named Arnold de Wyan found the manuscript of Saint Malachy's prophecy, and was fascinated by its prophecies of future popes. He then published Saint Malachy's prophecy, which consists of 112 short Latin descriptions of future popes. Each of these prophetic descriptions or mottos identifies one outstanding trait for each of these future popes, beginning with Pope Celestine II, who was elected in 1130. This list stretches all the way from the time of Saint Malachy to the present, including Pope John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and Pope Francis. The motto of the 110th Pope, the labor/eclipse of the sun. Pope John Paul II, 1978 to 2005. Pope John Paul II was born on May 18, 1920, on the day of a solar eclipse, and his funeral also took place on the day of a solar eclipse on April 8, 2005. Pope John Paul II worked like the sun circling the earth in his evangelical travels around the world, and he brought the light of Christ, the Sun of Righteousness, Malachy 4 verse 2, to the former communist countries in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union, which eventually led to the collapse of the communist countries in Eastern Europe and the end of the Cold War. The motto of the 111th Pope, the glory of the olive. Pope Benedict XVI, 2005 to 2013. Pope Benedict XVI took his name from Saint Benedict, whose order was known as the Olivetans. Before being elected as the Pope in 2005, Joseph Aloysius Ratzinger had been the Dean of the College of Cardinals for the Doctrine of the Faith since 1981. He was described as the main intellectual force in the Church to bring the Church back to the traditional Catholic doctrines and the teaching of Christ. In the Bible, Jesus preached his famous sermon about the end time on the Mount of Olives. The glory of the olive also refers to Jesus' teaching in sermons. The motto of the 112th Pope, Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman. Pope Francis, 2013 to 2025. Pope Francis, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, was born on December 17, 1936, in Flores, a neighborhood of Buenos Aires in Argentina. His father Mario José Bergoglio was an immigrant accountant from Italy to escape the fascist rule of Benito Mussolini in 1929. His mother Regina Maria Savori was born in Buenos Aires to a family of northern Italian origin. So, Pope Francis does have an Italian or Roman bloodline. On March 13, 2013, Argentina Archbishop and Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio was elected as the Pope of the Catholic Church. He chose Francis as his papal name in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi. Saint Francis of Assisi, 1181 to 1226, was an Italian Catholic friar, the founder of the Franciscan order, and one of the most venerated figures in Christianity. His birth name was Giovanni di Pietro di Bernardone, and Pietro means Peter. In 1939, Pope Pius XII named Saint Francis of Assisi the joint patron saint of Italy, which literally made Saint Francis, Peter the Roman. After being elected in March 2013, Pope Francis followed the example of Saint Francis of Assisi to become the people's pope by bringing the church closer to the people, taking care of the poor, advocating for environmental preservation, and promoting interfaith dialogues with people of different faiths. By choosing Francis as his papal name and following the footstep of Saint Francis of Assisi, Pope Francis does fulfill the title of Peter the Roman with his own Roman bloodline from Italy. The last pope before the end. In the description of this last pope in the prophecy, Saint Malachy wrote, "In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will sit Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations, and when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills, Rome, will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people." The end. This matched the prophecy of the apocalypse before the second coming in the Bible. From Peter the Apostle to Peter the Roman. In the Bible, Jesus told Peter the Apostle, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Matthew 16 verses 18 to 19. Jesus gave Peter the authority to establish the first church of Christ on the earth, and Peter became the first pope of the Holy Roman Church. Hence, Peter the Apostle was actually the first, Peter the Roman. In St. Malachy's prophecy of 112 popes, the last pope of the Holy Roman Church would have the title of Peter the Roman, same as the first pope of the Holy Roman Church, Peter the Apostle. This prophecy also stated that when the last pope completed his mission on the earth, that dreadful judge would come to judge the world at the end. This indicated that Pope Francis, as Peter the Roman, would be the last pope before the second coming of Christ the Messiah. The old time has ended, and the new era has begun. The prophecy of the second coming in the Bible. The second child in the Bible for the second coming. Many people anticipated the second coming of Christ to be a supernatural phenomenon of Christ coming down from the sky with thousands of angels following him. However, that scene only occurred in the spiritual realm, not visible in our physical world. The real second coming in our physical world is the birth of the second child in the Bible, who would be born under the reign of the red dragon, as prophesied in chapter 12 of the book of Revelation, Revelation 12 verse 5. After this second child in the Bible grew up, he would come to the land of great eagle, Revelation 12 verse 14, and be spiritually awakened in the state of Zion as that Lamb standing on Mount Zion, prophesied in the book of Revelation 14 verse 1. There would be 144,000 saints who would follow the Messiah of the second coming, and learn the new revelation of God for the new millennium, Revelation 14 verses 1 to 5. The new revelation of the eternal gospel for the new millennium. As the angels proclaimed in the book of Revelation, there will be a new revelation of God on the eternal gospel for every nation, tribe, language and people. Revelation 14 verse 6. This new revelation of the eternal gospel for all nations will reveal the big picture of the Word of God behind all major religions in the world, from the east to the west, to eliminate the religious conflicts and wars in the world, and bring the full blessing of God to the world for the new millennium of peace and wisdom. Just like Jesus Christ revealed the New Testament of God in his first coming, the Messiah of the second coming would also bring forth the new revelation of the eternal gospel, the new millennium testament for the new millennium. This new millennium testament will be the third testament of the Holy Bible trilogy, following the Old Testament and New Testament. Those who learn and accept the new millennium testament will reign with Christ 1,000 years, as prophesied in the book of Revelation 20 verses 1 to 6. The real second coming for the real world. Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with him, and he with me. Revelation 3 verse 20. Would you open the door when you hear the knock of the Messiah on your door? Are you ready for the new revelation of the eternal gospel, the new millennium testament for the new millennium? The new revelation of the eternal gospel for the new millennium of peace and wisdom. As the second child in the Bible, the peace Messiah for the second coming has come, the new revelation of the eternal gospel will be revealed for the new millennium of peace and wisdom. For more information about the new revelation of the eternal gospel by the peace Messiah for the new millennium, please visit www.peacemessiah.org.